What's going on, New York Giants fans? Hit Squad back at it with another video. And we have quite the video for you guys today. We're going to be talking about 6 players that I'm personally looking at coming out of the bye week going against the Houston Texans. Now, these players I think will be big contributors as to why the New York Giants win this game. And these could be players going down the stretch that will be big contributors as to why the New York Giants make a playoff push. Now, granted, this is a team sport. There are players that I did leave off of this list that you could make a very solid argument that they should be on this list. However, it's not a slight towards them. There's only 6 spots here. And I wanted to really hone in on these guys because I believe that they will be big contributors as to why the Giants win. Now, before we get into this video, if you have not already, join the Hit Squad. Join the Hit Squad, leave a like, leave your thoughts below, and as always, follow us on Twitter. The link will be in the description box. Now let's start off with the first 2 players that I believe will be a very big reason as to why the New York Giants should win this game against the Houston Texans. Now those 2 players are Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Now, this should be of no surprise to you guys. These two have been the heart and soul of this team this season. They are both having very good seasons, while Daniel Jones's stats may not show it. But I believe that a lot of Giants fans can come into agreement that these 2 players have really just proved that they deserve that to at least come back for another season. I'm a very big advocate for bringing these 2 back. I know that there's some indifference in the fan base about that, but I do believe that these are 2 players that can be very big contributors as to why the Giants not only win this game, but have any shot at the playoffs. Daniel Jones has 1,399 yards, just shy of 1,400. 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You pair that with 363 yards running. You also pair that with 3 rushing touchdowns and a completion percentage of 65%. Now, granted, I think a lot of Giants fans could agree that the numbers don't really back up how well, Daniel Jones has been playing this season. Daniel Jones, in my honest opinion, has really shown that, he can at least succeed in this offense. There are some things he still needs to work on. We all know that. But I also have to look at the wide receivers he's working with right now. With Darius Slayton at the moment being his number one, Wandale going through some, rookie hurdles. You have David Sills, Richie James, who has a concussion. This Hodgins kid that we picked up off of the Buffalo Bills practice squad that they cut. I mean, he's not working with much. And you do have a Kenny Galladay that's coming off of an MCL sprain. He did practice today, but I mean, he's working with what he has. And we're seeing that if he could at least have some healthy weapons out there, we could probably get a very solid quarterback out of this kid. I mean, he's commanding himself in the offense. He's looking poised. He's making the proper adjustments that he needs to make. And if we're being honest, he really shouldn't have 2 interceptions. I mean, one of them wasn't even his fault, if we're being completely honest with each other. But for Daniel Jones to have only 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions going into the bye, I got to give him a lot of credit, and I got to give this coaching staff a lot of credit. He's taking chances. He's getting more comfortable, getting more confident, looking like an actual NFL quarterback. And I'm very excited to see what the New York Giants do in regards to Daniel Jones. But I think this could be a game that the New York Giants try to take advantage of the air game. Now, obviously, they're going to try to run the ball with Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones, but I do think that they're going to try to air the ball out a little bit more than they have in recent weeks. Now, Saquon Barkley, I've been stating has been playing on an MVP mode. He's really just carrying this offense, if we're being honest with you. And he's been a difference maker on the field. He has 779 rushing yards, the second in the league. He has 5 rushing touchdowns. He's averaging 4.8 yards per carry. 28 receptions, 189 yards. I mean, week in and week out, he just shows that he's worthy of coming back. I mean, he really is showing that he's back and better than ever. And I think that, if you're Saquon Barkley and you're looking at that Houston Texans defense, you are just you're itching for Sunday to come because you know that you're gonna have a dominant game against the Houston Texans. Now, I'm very, very excited with Saquon Barkley and how he's playing because I think he's only going to get better as this offense gets rolling. I think this team is getting more acclimated into the offense. I think they're developing more chemistry despite the in and out rotation due to injuries. But Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones, I mean, these are two players that I really do believe will be big contributors this Sunday and going forward. Now, we're going to start off with the next one. I know you guys are going to probably come at me for this, but I got to do it to y'all, man. Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay. Look, I don't have the numbers to back it up. Okay? I don't. This is a nothing more than a feeling. Okay? So I can't deny that, he at least tries when he's on the field. Are there moments, especially like in week 1, where he has to be better? Absolutely. And he is coming off of an MCL sprint, so I'm not going to put too many expectations on him. But you saw when Tony got released, in his presser, he handled it like a professional. And to me, he sounded like a guy that was fully bought in, a guy that really can't wait to get on the field. He practiced on Monday, on Tuesday, because this is now Wednesday when this is being dropped. But he practiced today, Tuesday, for the first time. And I mean, reports are showing that he looked pretty good out there. Now, I'm really excited to see Kenny Galladay in this offense because, look, what are you going to do? Can you be that leader that we paid you, this big bag for? Can you be that guy to step up and be a difference maker in this offense? Take some heat off of Darius Slayton. Take some heat off of the other guys. Can you do the mini post? Can you at least help this offense convert on third downs or at least, have, one player out of the box? Can you be that guy for us? I don't want to put too many expectations on him. It's hard not to, considering that we really don't have anyone out there at the moment. But I do think that we're going to get a more motivated Kenny Galladay, and hopefully that translates to better production on the field. We'll see. But I really do think that Kenny Galladay, especially going against the Houston Texans, I think he could have a solid game for us. And if he can remain healthy, that's another thing too. If he can remain healthy, I'm looking at Kenny Galladay for the rest of the season. Show me what you got. And hey, I mean, if he shows enough, if he doesn't remain with the New York Giants, you're putting out film for your next team. So go out there, show it. Let's get that chemistry with Daniel Jones going. Let's try to get this win against the Houston Texans. Now, the next player we're going to talk about is Julian Love. Julian Love. Julian Love now has more responsibility on his shoulders, probably than ever. With Xavier McKinney being out, I fully expect Dane Belton to get more snaps. I know Jason Pinnock is on the roster as well, so it's interesting to see where he's going to factor in. I believe he's with the Jets prior. But Julian Love is a player that, since he's been drafted, has been nothing but a constant professional, and he does everything that this team needs him to do, right? I mean, he'll play either position at safety, he'll play in the box, he'll play outside at corner, he'll play in the slot. He'll go out there and go sack the QB if he has to. He's just a player that I absolutely believe the New York Giants should bring back. And there's rumors that they're actually working on a contract as we speak. So I hope that they could get that done. But Julian Love, in terms of stats, 1 sack this year, 58 total tackles, 37 solo, 21 assisted tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 2 passes defended. He's been playing excellent this season. And going against a team like the Houston Texans, who can't seem to get their air game going, and a quarterback in David Mills that takes far too many chances, on top of having the responsibility, of probably calling plays, considering that he did state in his presser today with Tiki and Tierney that he has familiarity with calling plays. Wink Martindale likes to adjust these guys and likes to have all of these guys ready just in case. And he says he feels comfortable calling plays and he's ready for that responsibility. And hey, if he could go out there and show, there's, no issues with him whatsoever in commanding this defense and he really puts on a show, I think by Monday morning of next week, we hear that he gets a contract signed. I mean, because this is a guy that is just, he's a leader. He's a leader amongst men. And I think that with Xavier McKinney being down, Dane Bilton getting some more time, go out there and show why the New York Giants should pay you. And he's done enough. Obviously, he's done enough. But this is the time where you really, really prove why the New York Giants would be foolish to let you walk out of the door this season. Now, the next player we're going to be talking about here is Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams, man. I mean, he's played in what? I think a couple games here now coming off of the sprained MCL. I don't got the exact number in my head, but he has 1 sack, 17 total tackles, 11 solo tackles, 6 assists. Not looking like the typical Leonard Williams that we're seeing, but I do think that going into the bye, he's played a lot better. He was getting more acclimated into this defense. And I think coming out of the bye, looking at that Houston Texas offensive line, which is a bad offensive line, this could be a game where Leonard Williams feasts. And he's a player that I'm really looking at for the rest of the season because with Dexter Lawrence emerging and really showing that he's worthy of a second contract with the New York Giants, I mean, Leonard Williams, I mean, I think that's going to give him more opportunities to get some one on ones. And I think that we could even see him have a season where, by the end of it, not considering the playoffs, he could have 5 or 6 sacks. And I don't think that's unreasonable to say. And I think that there are opportunities for him going down the stretch. When you look at the teams we're playing and you look at their offensive lines, he has some favorable matchups, and I think that he's a player that you should absolutely look for. Big cat. I mean, he's a captain for a reason. I'm very excited to see him get more acclimated into this defense. And I'm really excited to see how Wink Martindale uses him going forward. Now, last player we are going to be talking about is Kayvon Thibodeaux. Kayvon Thibodeaux, I mean, and he's a player that, the numbers don't really back it up. But I think when you look at him on film, I mean, you see the potential with this kid. He was a player that I really wanted the New York Giants to draft. I was ecstatic when we drafted him. And I mean, I think he's slowly coming into his own. I think, especially, after the Ravens game, he's really solidifying himself as a player that teams have to take notice of when he's on the field. I mean, there's a lot of times where it looks like he's getting held on the field. There's a lot of times where he's getting back there, but he's not completing plays either. And granted, that could be to whether the QB's evading the pocket, they're getting the ball out quickly, like we saw against Aaron Rodgers. But at the same time, I think he's been having a very good year, considering the fact that he's going through some rookie hurdles. He's coming off of that MCL sprain. But, in 6 games played, 1 sack, 14 total tackles, 10 solo tackles, 4 assists, 1 forced fumble, 3 passes defended. He's played in 77% of those snaps in those 6 games. He has 3 quarterback hits and 7 quarterback pressures. Now, again, the numbers don't really back it up, but I think all Giants fans could agree when you look at him on the field, he's a difference maker. He really is a difference maker. And if we could get O'Shane Ximines back and get Azeez Ojulari back, I think that's only going to help him thrive even more. And he was looking really good down the stretch going into the bye week. I'm really excited to see how he's going to look going against this Houston Texas offensive line because this offensive line is very suspect. Very, very suspect. This could be a game where where Kayvon Thibodeaux has 2 sacks. So these are my 6 players I think you guys should look at. Let me know your guys' thoughts below. How do you guys feel about these players? Are there players you felt that I left out? Let us know in the comments below. We'll see you guys in the next video.